What's up, gamers? I'm Andrew Taylor, and my hairline is receding more and more every day.
Well, I'm Matt Hall, and I can relate to that statement. And today we are knocking on Deus door. Hey, hey. Oh, man. It's my review of the cutesy game with the bird that is not a short hike.
What?
It's Death's Door.
Oh.
Death's Door is a game that I heard about a lot in 2021, but for some reason I figured it just wasn't for me. There's a lot of games out there that have a similar look, and they're often just a little too cutesy and sentimental for my tastes. However, I have yet to be let down by the game's publisher, Devolver Digital, and so when Death's Door appeared in a recent Steam sale, I decided to give it a shot. The game's protagonist is this little crow. They can jump, roll, and attack with various weapons and spells. I immediately got very strong Legend of Zelda vibes, which were further solidified when I got a hook shot. The game is a really engaging mix of elements from second and third wave Zelda titles, combined with combat and upgrade systems that feel influenced by Dark Souls, without ever being as punishingly difficult or cryptic as many Souls-like games can be. While the game is fairly linear, there is a degree of what I think some would call Metroidvania-style backtracking. But really, you just have some opportunities to explore areas again after gaining new abilities. And while it's beneficial, this exploration is technically optional, and not really directly tied to progressing through the story. My main issue with a lot of Metroidvania-style games, aside from the fact that I think the idea is a little played out, and rarely ever competes with the precedents set by Metroid or Castlevania, is that I wind up feeling overwhelmed by the maps and all the convoluted ways that I'm expected to navigate them. And if I put those games down for more than a week or two, I wind up feeling lost and have a very hard time getting reacclimated to their worlds. In contrast, Death's Door doesn't even have a map, and the different areas of the world are both small enough and well designed enough to be easily navigated without a map. The game is also short enough that you can play through it in a handful of sessions, but rich and challenging enough that you don't feel shorted by that experience. I spent a little less than 15 hours with the game, and completed around 75% of what it had to offer. There are 24 trinkets hidden throughout the world for you to collect. These trinkets are called shiny things, because we know that crows love finding shiny things. There's also a few things in the game that suggest there's likely some hidden boss encounters and secret areas that I'm yet to uncover. The game is charming enough that I think I'll be diving back in to try and reach that 100% mark, but even without doing so, I found Death's Door to be a very satisfying experience. The story is a little convoluted to begin with, but as you make your way through the game, all of the pieces start to fall into place, and the plot makes a lot more sense. Essentially, crows like the player character are sent out into the world to collect souls. You can then exchange these souls for stat upgrades. Obviously, there is a lot more going on, but you'll meet a whole cast of well-written NPCs who help to reveal the bigger picture. The game is challenging, but never mean or overly difficult. I think it could be a great gateway into more difficult games, and may also push gamers to check out titles like Wind Waker or Link's Awakening, games that Death's Door clearly takes influence from. The developers of Death's Door, who go by the name Acid Nerve, released a game called Titan Souls back in 2015. I haven't played that game yet, but just by looking at a few screenshots, I can see that Death's Door further explored some of the elements presented in Titan Souls, and I'm excited to check that game out soon. In the meantime, I highly recommend Death's Door to anyone looking for a fun action-adventure game.
Oh, man. I
What's
gotta
up,
say.
gamers? We already introduced this episode, but I wanted to do it again, because I'm gaining weight every day.
What?
Roll with it.
I am so confused by that. So, Andrew's getting fat, getting bald, and I have to ask him, has he played? No, I'll just direct the question to you. Have you played
Death's Door?
Death's Door? And I know it's in your Steam library.
It is in my Steam library.
I got a notification about that.
I get notifications about yours all the time, too. It always says, hooray, Matt Hall's library is shared with you. I don't know why it does that.
Because that's, well, We have a shared. We've shared. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just get like when I install a game, I still always see like Andrew Taylor owns this game.
Oh, that's
It
right.
actually
yeah.
says Halbeardo owns this game.
That is my name on Steam. I haven't played it yet. No. Despite if you saw my review on A Short Hike, I made a really funny joke where I thought I was playing Death's Door, but as it turns out, it was A Short Hike. Really funny, and because I was highly anticipating this game to come out, but
Not highly enough to fucking play it.
apparently not.
You
no.
jackass.
I was playing other games, man. I was playing other games.
See,
so
that's the thing that sucks about playing games. That it's whenever you're playing a game, you can't be playing
can't
another
be
game.
playing another game. That's
Yeah.
what I've been saying. So I am very upset that you have made a review of this game instead of me, because I said I was going to do it, or I guess I said I was going to play it.
You gave me your blessing though.
No, that was off camera.
That was so it doesn't count.
Yo, kayfabe, dude. We got to look like we're
Well,
enemies.
I honestly would love to eventually see your look at this game compared to mine. But I'd say, man, I don't really usually like this this look. I don't know. It's like a very modern look.
Quirky, not quite silly, but like little rounded edges.
Yeah, it's
Everything's kinda
cutesy.
cute.
Everything's rounded. It's like that modern design look that like was pretty innovative when I first saw it in Wind Waker.
Right.
But like over time, it's like
2006.
it's like I don't know. Like I feel like a good like quarter of every indie game looks just like this. So I was kind of like, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a game that belonged in the nursery.
yeah.
But I was also going, Devolver's always pretty fucking good.
Pretty
and
consistent.
this game was on a lot of year-end best lists from a lot of people that I follow online. And I said, if I like 9 out of your 10 top 10 of 2021, I'm probably going to like the 10th one as well.
Yeah, very fair. I remember with this game, right off the bat, I knew I was going to like it. I got like the premise and generally what the gameplay was. So I was just like, that sounds awesome. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just going to wait till it comes out and try it. Clearly, that's not the case anymore. I was surprised to see that it does have those kind of Link to the Past kind of vibes to it and like play style, because it is like a top down. I really thought it was going to be more like
a roguelike.
kind of and like I think I mentioned that to you and you're like,
Yeah, you're like,
what
oh,
the
maybe
fuck
it's
are
like a
you talking
roguelike
about?
twin stick thing. It's
Yeah.
like, no, not
Not at
really
all.
at all.
And it's a lot more akin to Zelda than it
It
is.
basically feels like Zelda Souls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sick. That's a cool combo. I like the graphics and everything. But yeah, I was surprised to see because I don't know. I guess I was just making my own assumptions of it, or maybe somebody was describing it.
It could
at the time.
look like that, but even like the twin stick kind of thing, it's like it's not really twin stick because you can't move while shooting. You have projectiles, you have spells,
But you got a plant.
but yeah, you stop, ready, shoot, then you can move again. It does really mostly focus on melee and kind of like there's no. It's similar to Dark Souls in the sense that you are collecting souls and using them to upgrade your character.
Yeah.
And it's also in a very Dark Souls-esque world full of like, odd NPCs.
Yeah.
Like Dark Souls, I think also has a guy who has like a jug for a head, or maybe that's Elden Ring. But still, like I've seen that type of character in these From Software games where it's like, oh, I don't think I mentioned it in my review or anything. There's a guy who has a pot of soup for a head.
Oh, okay.
So like, it's got these like sort of like characters who are like in this like strange realm and I don't know, it looks like many years after any sort of human civilization has ever been there. So it's all kind of like these like giant ruins and you can tell there's been something that's like changed the landscape. But it feels like Dark Souls put through the cutesy indie filter.
All right. Something just dawned on me while you were saying that. I thought I've always thought it was cool the games that have like you have to collect the souls and you exchange those in this crazy like spiritual realm to like improve your character or get new gear. That's just money. That's just the same as like in any game where you kill a guy and he drops a coin. Mm-hmm. It's the same shit. It just has a different name. I never really made that distinction.
It's currency.
It sounds so much cooler to me. Like, oh, souls is cool. It's like collecting bones of the dead, but at the end, it's just dollarinos.
Yeah, it's always
thing.
fun to see how games handle that. Like I just last night, or this morning, no, it was last night. I finished Binary Domain, which is a shooter where you are in Japan and you're being pursued by a bunch of robots. When you kill those robots, you get like points that you use
Robot points.
as currency to buy upgrades to kill more of those robots. But like the ammo and upgrade system is also run by the government of Japan, and like the government of Japan is also out for you.
And they're making the oh, okay.
So it doesn't make any fucking sense why like
Yeah.
like killing. It's like, oh, if you kill my soldiers, you get currency from them, and then you can use that money. You can give it to me. I'll give you better guns to
Better
kill more of my
guns.
soldiers. Like it's like, I don't know. Games just have currency.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard about some of it.
But yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a good game. I'm glad that it's mostly melee, right?
Mostly melee, yeah. I mean, there's some ranged attacks, but it has an interesting sort of thing. So you have like a little like a spell meter, like I think like 5 or 6 slots at most, and so like a spell might cost 1 or 2 points, and then to refill those things, you refill it every time you slash your sword against an enemy or like a breakable object.
Okay, that restores your.
Yeah, so there's like little ice crystals or mushrooms or crates all over that might like regenerate once you cut them down. But the idea is that they're basically like ammo refills.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like built
keeps
into the world.
Keeps the ball moving. Keeps combat active.
Yeah, and it makes it so like you can't really necessarily always. You can't just rely on like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking try to like throw bombs at this guy, because eventually you're gonna have to go in and slash him a couple times to refill your ammo.
Now, Matt, I've heard that there's multiple weapons in this game, multiple like melee weapons, but it seems like you didn't really run into them.
I did.
I thought maybe at one point when you were talking to me about playing it, you said that you hadn't found any or didn't think that there were any other than like the main sword, whatever you have.
No, well, there's not like a vast array of melee weapons. There's basically like a small sword, a big sword, twin swords, twin blades that are very fast,
Okay.
an umbrella, which is almost useless, and an axe. But they all work the same exact way. They might just have like, the parameters are like attack speed, range,
Damage.
very basic shit. And everything is like, nothing is more than like, like 0.5 or 0.75 greater or less than
Okay.
anything else. Like it's not like anything is like, whoa, this is a huge advantage.
Just maybe a little bit. You can tailor your play style. A little
Yeah,
bit.
if you just want to like lean towards something, and I guess you can also like think about how your character's built, because you have like again very similar stats, just like speed, dexterity, attack power. Basically how fast can you roll? How many slashes can you get in per second?
Okay.
That kind of stuff. So you can kind of tailor it, but it's like it's not extremely complex by any means.
Okay, it's kind of similar to Skeletal Avenger, a game that we were talking about recently, that we put my review out on. I have heard that I think you can get there's an achievement. I think I was watching a video from the completionist Gerard Khalil. I'm pretty sure he did an episode on Death's Door where he played through the entire game with the umbrella. Which
Seems fucking dumb, but yeah, you could do that.
I think there's some sort of completion bonus to that. I think if you play through the entire game, with you start with the umbrella and it doesn't really do any damage. Is that it, or is it just like
No,
a gag
you
item
just
that
find it, yeah.
It doesn't do any damage, right? It does like
It does. I mean, if you can complete the game with it, I think it does damage, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to complete the game.
Like speaking in hyperbole, it doesn't really do.
It probably does less damage than your
Like
sword.
drastically less, yeah. So is that something you think you're gonna try? You're gonna try to do the full?
No, of course
umbrella
not.
playthrough?
No. I'd like to go in and see, because
Shutting it down.
there was a character that said something along the lines of, "Oh, maybe one day you'll be strong enough to defeat me," and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm just assuming what I know about games. That's a hint." And there was also like a locked door or two that I couldn't get into.
All right.
So I'm assuming there's like some alternate ending or secret boss encounter. So I think I am going to go back in and try to find those. But also, even if I don't, pretty good overall experience. Like, you don't need to be a completionist, to have a good time with the game. Even just like being pretty casual, I did find, like I said, about 75% was my completion mark.
Okay.
So like, the game does reward exploration, but it's like it's not the kind of thing where you're going to be spending like hours like scouring environments for little secrets.
All right. That sounds like a pleasant experience.
it's a very pleasant experience. It's challenging enough that like you'll want to try again when you fail on a boss fight. You know, the boss fights are pretty big and they're all really well designed. Each have very unique mechanics. It never feels like, oh cool, I'm fighting like a bigger enemy with a more HP, and you know, every arena that you fight the boss in and everything, it's all just a unique situation.
That flower
Yeah.
flower vine creature, onion looking boss.
Yeah.
That looked really cool.
That's like the opening enemy.
Oh,
it just kind of gets you acclimated, like, hey, this is what you're in for, is these big bosses. Big boss does not appear in the game, unfortunately, though.
Okay, what about the big bad bosses? The YouTube music supergroup featuring Gerard Khalil, the completionist.
Oh, I'd rather not know that it even exists.
Ain't nobody gonna come and find me. I got mad reptilian pride.
You got Nate Wants to Battle and Pro Jared.
Oh,
And another guy.
I'm not going to speak about that.
I think I have the CD. I'll show it to you. I don't remember who the last person is.
CD's nuts, asshole.
That's where I was going. I don't remember who the last guy is in that band, so I'm sorry, but
I forgive you, but I would say, yeah, if you're someone who's like kind of into the mid-era Zelda, and I'm saying like anything past Zelda 2, but before Twilight Princess, maybe. I think that was the first, like, what?
Pro Jared might not be in that band.
I don't fucking care.
I think I had him sign my CD, but because I went to a convention, but I don't think he's in the band.
Why would you have him sign the CD if he wasn't in the band?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some fact checking here.
It's kind of like when you autographed that comic book that you weren't a part of.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Artists love when people who didn't work on it sign that work.
Everyone that bought a copy, I said, "Hey, I like that. You want me to sign it?" I didn't do that, but I did sign one or two.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of like that era of Zelda, this really takes a lot from it. It, you know, a lot. It is Zelda worship through and through, but also with a little bit of Souls-like stuff, but it's not like, I don't know, I'm trying to think like Salt and Sanctuary or, I don't know, Sekiro or something. You know, it's like there's certain like Souls-like games where it's like, Jesus Christ, like there's no parry, there's no like super intense like
Meta.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just kind of like, you definitely got to be good at the combat. You got to like make good use of the dodge roll and time your attacks. But it's not like, you got to fucking get it right here or else you're like one hit dead, you know?
Right. It's a lot more forgiving.
It's a lot more forgiving. And so I think it's a good intro for people who are curious about those kinds of games, but not really experienced enough to dive in.
All right. Well,
Gateway. It's a good gateway.
good gateway.
And a good game. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Out of 5. Well, if you're like me and you like The Completionist, well, I'd say why don't you jump down there and hit the subscribe button on our channel too.
Yes, we have nothing in common with that channel. But
I like him. He seems like a nice guy. I watch a lot of his videos.
I actually met him at a convention. I had him sign my CD.
That was me that did that.
There's a really loud train going by. We'll see if that interrupts the audio.
That's the steam train.
But when I
from
asked
Game
him to sign the
Grumps.
CD, he was like, why would I sign that? I was like, I don't know, because I like it. And he
Then
said,
what did he
okay.
say?
He's like, whatever, man, $10. And so,
He charged you.
yeah, and all I had was a 20, and he was like, sorry, I can't make change. Do you still want it? I was like, well, I came here pretty much just to see you and to get this signed, so yes. I can go on and on. It was a very sordid experience.
That sounds not
But
great.
if you still like him, that's fine. I just, you know, I had my appreciation of his channel soured by how he treated me. And I am being serious. And Jaleel, or whatever your name is, if you want to fight me, that's fine.
Yeah, Jaleel is probably going to respond and will want to fight you.
What's his name? Camille?
Gerard Khalil.
Oh, I was close.
You did like J and then cut off the K.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
He also goes by Dragon Rider.
And he fucked Matt's wife.
Goodbye.
He fucked Matt's wife.